Hello. Our lesson of today will discuss who is an entrepreneur. And the outline of the presentation is who is an entrepreneur, charms of being an entrepreneur, myths of entrepreneurs, dark traits, success of an enterprise, entrepreneurial competencies. So, who is an entrepreneur? He's a person who innovates. Entrepreneurs have dreams, have aspirations, have crafts, have knowledge, and they want to convert these into an existing business or into a successful business. But they do it in an innovative way. They do it in an added value way. They do it differently than others can do it. An entrepreneur is someone who allocates and manages the factors of production and bears risk. To start a business, you need employees, you need raw material, you require a lot of inputs. So accordingly, the entrepreneur is the person who will manage these factors of production and bear the risk of this business. Because when you start a business, you need to invest your time, you need to invest your money, and these are all risk factors that the entrepreneur is willing to take. Possesses the ability to perceive latent economic opportunities. Entrepreneurs who have dreams, they know that if they accomplish this dream of developing this business or this enterprise, they know that this will yield some profits for them and they will yield some income for them. So accordingly, it's a way of looking at things into a completely different perspective than most of the people, because not everybody is a potential entrepreneur. Conceives the ideas of business. He sees an opportunity and then he manipulates and transforms this idea or dream into an existing business, into a profitable business. Accumulates capital. Any business requires investments, requires financing. So accordingly, it's his job to look around for financing and to accumulate and try to establish contacts and relationships with people who are willing to provide the support to him. Recruits labor. Staff and the people who work in the company are a key component of the company. So accordingly, it's also his job to go around and seek the right people who are willing to help him and become his staff. Establishes relations with suppliers, customers, and government. A business requires raw material, it requires support, and accordingly they have to be brought in from other suppliers or with other companies. So accordingly, it's the job of the entrepreneur himself is to really develop these linkages and these relationships, and to go through the relationship with the government when it comes to issuing him the license or paying his taxes back. Converts conception into a functional organization. This dream, this business plan that was developed to materialize this business idea, it has to be converted now into a functional working operating system so that your business can grow and expand and proceed further. Supplier of resources, supervisor and coordinator. He's the person who will tie up all these linkages together, supervising his company, supervising his labor, supervising his markets, and then making sure that the system of his company is working smoothly and successfully as per the business plan. Ultimate decision maker. He is the person who will decide where this company will go, how the company will be managed, and it's his own personal decision. We try as much as possible to assist our entrepreneurs in taking scientific calculated risk, on the contrary of taking haphazard risk or emotional decisions. Because 90% of emotional decisions are wrong decisions unless they are linked with an accurate study and a calculated risk that this decision is based on. So the charms of being an entrepreneur. It's an opportunity to gain control over one's future. You decide what you want to do. It's your business. It's your future. There are no limitations to where you can be. To reach your full potential. Some people feel that if they are employed, they are restricted with guidances and decisions that they are not responsible for. While if you develop your own business, you can reach your full potential. If you feel that this company has to proceed into a certain market, you are the person who has to take the decision. It's your decision to take it. The opportunity to reap unlimited profits. There is no limitations to how much money a company can make. Some entrepreneurs or businesses make 10 or 15%. But with the right decision and with the right growth plan, your entrepreneur and your business can increase tremendously. And we have seen entrepreneurs who have developed a $5,000 business into $1 million businesses. And if we look around in our communities and in the countries we're living in, you will see a lot of these examples. But this cannot be ensured unless your entrepreneur has a team who is willing to provide all the support structures that he would require to develop. It's an opportunity to contribute to society and to be recognized for your efforts. So how does an entrepreneur contribute to society by establishing his business? Remember, when you establish your own enterprise, the company will require to hire staff, they will require to buy machinery, they will be required to sell products, and at the end of the day, they will be obliged also to pay taxes. So accordingly, when you start an enterprise as an entrepreneur, you are recruiting other people. You're developing an economic motion within the country, and recruiting other employees. You're adding value financially to these people, and you're providing them with a secure job. So accordingly, developing an enterprise for an entrepreneur has a lot of added value, not only for himself as an individual, but also to the community and to the society and to the national economy of the country he's living in. Myths of entrepreneurship. These are some of the things that people have misconceptions about, that entrepreneurs are born. So you're either born as an entrepreneur or you're not born as an entrepreneur. And this is not true. Entrepreneurs can be developed, and based on our experience and wherever we go in the world, we realize that most of the entrepreneurs that you see and the successful businessmen, these are self-made entrepreneurs. They are entrepreneurs who started their own business. They didn't inherit anything from their parents or relatives. So accordingly, entrepreneurs can be developed and are not born. Entrepreneurs are young. No, it's not true. We have seen entrepreneurs who are 70 years of age and have just started their business, and they are doing very well. And we have seen young aged individuals who have already started their businesses and they're doing very well. When we in entrepreneurship development say young in entrepreneurship, we mean young in developing your own business. So you could be 70 or you could be 25. At the end of the day, you are young in entrepreneurship, and not all entrepreneurs are young in age. Entrepreneurs get rich quickly. Yes, in some times they do get, but in most of the times, with the right work, with the right support structure, with the right decision making, entrepreneurs will be rich. But this will take time. It's not an issue that will happen overnight. There are exceptions, we don't refuse that, but the general tendency is that entrepreneurs will start their business, start to accumulate wealth, start to develop other businesses, and then within some time they'll be rich. Entrepreneurs have many free time. if the entrepreneur is good in managing his time and allocating his resources, this could be the case. But generally speaking, entrepreneurs do not have free time because, as you recall, it's the decision of the entrepreneur to run and manage and bear responsibility for all this enterprise. So it's not something that he can leave it aside. But with the right management, the right dissemination of authorities, responsibilities to the staff, and developing a certain monitoring system, yes, your entrepreneur will be able to have free time. Dark side traits. Excessive need for control. Some people feel that some of the entrepreneurs are so excessive in the need and the control of their enterprises that they start to micromanage. Micromanage means that the entrepreneur needs to know everything. Everything is happening. All the decisions have to go back to him, even on the smallest and simplest issues. This is an area where we highly recommend our business counselors to be very careful and draw the attention of potential entrepreneurs on this dark trait, as to really develop a system of supervision and monitoring that will ensure the right development and smooth growth of the company, but at the same time not leaving it free to move around. Suspicious, others will steal their idea. Yes, entrepreneurs tend to feel that if they tell you their business idea, somebody will steal it and develop it. And this is more or less what we see all around us. But at the end of the day, and which is very important, an entrepreneur has a business dream. And he realizes and he knows that this business dream is coming from within. So accordingly, even if I take his business idea, I will not be able to develop the business that he foresees in his dreams. I will not be able to deliver the same quality service with the same passion for that idea that he has developed. And this is why, if you look around you, you might see a lot of bakeries or a lot of cold store shops. But at the end of the day, there is always one or two of these who are very famous, because those entrepreneurs who manage these businesses know exactly what they want to do, know exactly what the client requires. And accordingly, it is not always the case that entrepreneurs can steal your business ideas. Impatience. Entrepreneurs tend to be, I want it and I want it now. This is a good sign, but it usually backfires on the entrepreneur. Things have to mature. If your company is in the startup phase, you cannot jump to the growth stage. It is still early. The company is not strong enough. So accordingly, because they have a strong dream and they have a strong drive to accomplish their dreams and aspirations, it is important to try and put the entrepreneur a little bit more on the realistic side and try to limit his speed, keeping in mind that an entrepreneur has a lot of competencies, and growing company fast might require a lot of change in the structure of the company, a lot of decision making, and the entrepreneur could not be ready at that time. So accordingly, it is best to take the step when the right time comes. Need for applause. Entrepreneurs like to be congratulated if they have done a good job. Defensive. They do not like criticism, and this could be a dark side, because your strong confidence in yourself will become defensive. So accordingly, some entrepreneurs tend to, when they go into these dark traits, to be very defensive when it comes to their enterprise. And they're not willing to listen to business counselors nor to anyone. And this is an area that we need to really focus on with entrepreneurs. That should we be criticizing you or your company or the operation of the company, we are doing it for your benefit. There is no benefit for us out of it. We're trying to be supportive, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to do development. And development requires a long commitment towards the long-term objectives and the support to entrepreneurs. externalize internal problems. Anything that goes wrong in the company, blame it on somebody else. Are your sales going down? Yes. Why? Because the bank didn't give me financing. But sometimes these problems are not attributed to external factors. Sometimes these are factors within the company. And this links exactly with the point of being defensive. Because he is not willing to commit that he made a mistake in this decision, he will try to externalize this problem, that it's not my problem, it's the community or the environment or the support structures. So accordingly, these are some of the dark traits that we as business counselors have to watch out and make sure that our entrepreneurs don't go deep into these problem areas. Success of a business relies on an entrepreneur. There is no business if we do not have an entrepreneur who will run and manage and develop this business. The viability of the product. Are we selling a product that is in demand and there is a need for this product? Is the quality of this product what the clients require, or are we selling a product which is lower than the requirements of the clients? Project planning. How was this enterprise developed? Do we have plans, growth plans for the coming year, 2 years? Where will the company be in 5 years from now? Implementation thoroughness. How good is the entrepreneur in really sticking and following the business plan and implementing his project? Project management. How is this project being managed? How are we dealing with our staff? How are we dealing with our clients? These are the main points that comprise an enterprise. But the number one priority in this list is the entrepreneur himself. The success of the business is solely or 90% based on the success of the entrepreneur. It's based on the entrepreneur. It's based on the competencies, the capabilities, and the support structure that we as business counselors provide and support institutions within the country provide. I'm not saying that the staff members and the product are not important. They are. But if you don't have an entrepreneur, you don't have an enterprise. What are competencies? Competency is made up of knowledge, skill, motives, and traits, and they sum up to a competency. Body of knowledge is a collection of information and retention of facts. Knowledge is whatever we know, whatever we have been educated on, the experiences in life. All these add information or add knowledge to our beings. Skill is an ability to demonstrate a system and sequence of behavior for the achievement of a goal. So, to clarify knowledge and to clarify skill, let's take an example. If I'm a person who does not know how to swim, and I decide that I would like to start swimming, the first thing I can do is I can go on the internet or buy a book and then read about swimming. And this tells me that I have to move my hands and I have to move my legs in a certain way. So now I have the knowledge of swimming. But to really have the skill of swimming, I really need to go to a swimming pool or to the sea and practice the things or practice the knowledge that I have. So now I have the knowledge of swimming and I have the skill of knowledge of swimming. Motives. Something as a need or desire that causes people to act. So what's my motive for swimming? Why do I want to swim? Because I want the people to know that I swim. Because I want to enjoy it. And usually people could say, well, I want to be the world champion in swimming, or I want to be the national champion for swimming. So accordingly, this is what motivates me to swim. If I usually swim 1 hour a day, once a week, and then I have this motive to become the national champion of swimming, this will motivate me to swim 3 hours a day for 4 days a week. Traits is a characteristic way in which a person responds to an equivalent set of stimuli. So now I know how to swim, I have the skill of swimming, and I have competed on the national level of swimming. But I came fourth. So what will be my reaction to that? And this is what the trait. If I'm a person who is used to challenges and not accepting to take no for an answer, what I will do for next year is to try to swim much more, practice much more, and then in order to be able to reach on the national level as a #1 swimmer in the country. So accordingly, knowledge plus skills plus traits and traits and motives will develop a competency. So now I have a swimming competency, and then we can test that swimming competency. Entrepreneurial competencies. Entrepreneurial competencies, competency #1 is initiative. What we are about to go through is a listing of 15 entrepreneurial competencies. And where did these come from? A study was conducted on a number of successful entrepreneurs around the world, and then they realized through that study that we have top 15 competencies that most of these successful entrepreneurs had. One of which is initiative. Initiative in the sense that your entrepreneur is not waiting for someone to tell him what to do. He will do it without himself. He will take the initiative to do things for his own self without waiting for others to tell him to do that. Sees and acts on opportunities. He identifies a potential area or a potential business that he can generate income from. He automatically takes that initiative. He doesn't need somebody to tell him to go and do it. He looks in an eye, with an eagle eye on investment opportunities. Where can I generate more income? Where can I generate more profit? Persistence. We do not take no for an answer as an entrepreneur. They will keep on trying and trying and trying as much as needed to get what they really want. 4, information seeking. Through research, through internet, through his own experience, he will try to collect as much information as possible for his business. If there is an exhibition taking place related to his business, he will go and visit it. He will check website, he will check links, he will develop contacts with influential people, with other entrepreneurs to get information so that he can utilize this information for the benefit of his business and his enterprise. Concern for high quality of work. Because we're a new business, and because your entrepreneur started a new business, we have to be very clear about that. People will come and buy his product or service, not because it's a good product, but because people know him. For the first 2-3 months of starting a business and selling a product or a service, your entrepreneurs, your clients will come and buy because they know you. People tend to like to try new things. But it is very important that on the long run, and to create customer loyalty, your product and service should be up to the standard and should be of high quality compared to price. So accordingly, entrepreneurs usually have this strong competency of high quality of work. They want the best product at the best price. They need the best quality service so that they can ensure a successful and growing business. Efficiency orientation. They will try to cut cost as much as possible, keeping in mind the quality is not affected. So it is financial effectiveness, and at the same time ensuring that it's the best quality of service or the best quality of product that they can provide. Systematic planning. Everything is planned. Nothing is left just for coincidence. So accordingly, it's sometimes our entrepreneurs forget the issue of systematic planning, and accordingly, this is why it's the job of the business counselor to really stress the point and the need for business planning and systematic planning for these entrepreneurs. Problem solving. Entrepreneurs have a strong tendency to solve problems because remember, at the end of the day, running a business is full of problems. A staff member didn't show to work. You have a product or you have a service that you need to offer. So you need to find solutions. You need to develop issues. And these are the very simple problems. There could be much bigger problems that you have a new competitor coming in town. So what should be the best way to overcome this competition? So problem solving is a major component of the entrepreneur's life on a daily basis. Self-confidence. Entrepreneurs have very strong self-confidence. Because for him to start a business, he has self-confidence in himself. And if you don't have self-confidence in yourself, the idea of starting a business will never happen. So accordingly, these are very strong, or entrepreneurs are very strong in that component. But it has to be very careful, or else we will reach the dark side of self-confidence, which becomes defensive and becoming micromanagers. So accordingly, self-confidence within acceptable terms would be good, coupled with calculated scientific risk, because the more the confidence you have, the more the entrepreneur could be willing to take bigger risks. And it's the job of the business counselor is to really make sure that the entrepreneur is very well aware about the risk associated with a certain decision or with a certain option. Assertiveness, clear cut, no compromise. And these are very important because what they want is what they require. Persuasion. Entrepreneurs tend to be very good in persuasion because at the starting point of starting your business, you need to persuade the bank to give you financing if you require. You need to convince the employee at the ministry to provide you with a license. And for your business to succeed, you need to be able to persuade clients and customers to buy your product or a service. So this is a good competency that is usually there in entrepreneurs. Use of influence strategies. Entrepreneurs develop their own networks, and they utilize these networks whenever they face a problem. They establish relations with influential people, with other entrepreneurs, with suppliers, with friends, whatever, in order to get what they really want. And they try to influence the decision of others. And this is something very interesting in entrepreneurs, and it's also linked to creating interest in a person. So they tell you, if you want a service or you need a favor from someone, the best way to do it is to create interest in that person for the purpose of developing whatever you require. Monitoring. Because it's the entrepreneur's money, because it's the entrepreneur's financing and time and efforts, these entrepreneurs tend to have strong monitoring entrepreneurial competency, so that they ensure that the business is moving and smoothly being developed. And in monitoring the entrepreneur's business, it's also important that the business counselor plays a role in monitoring and helping the entrepreneur open his eyes on how to develop further and proceed in the growth of the enterprise. Concern for employee welfare. The entrepreneur employs staff, and sometimes the entrepreneurs are not able to pay good wages. But because they know that the staff are essential for the success and the smooth development and operation of the company, they will try as much as possible to ensure that their staff are happy. Maybe not financially, but at least on the motivational aspect. Keeping in mind that the message that most entrepreneurs give to their employees, that this is a successful enterprise and this is a sustainable enterprise. Maybe today we need to sacrifice for this business, but on the long run, this business will grow and you are part of this business. So accordingly, for them, the biggest asset in the company is their staff members. And they are not willing to harm or to lose this strong and good asset for them. Point number 15, commitment to work contract. If he says we will provide this product on this day, then he will do his best to provide it on that day. And this is why, because at the end of the day, people will look at you by your product, and people or clients will look at the enterprise based on its commitment to time. And some entrepreneurs go the extra mile if they realize that this product will not be delivered as agreed. They are more than willing to go down to the factory level and work with their own hands, with their staff, to make it happen. So accordingly, this strong commitment, because at the end of the day, it's their business. And if this business gets a bad reputation or does not provide a good quality product, it will affect him. It will affect the enterprise and directly affect him financially, emotionally, and socially. So accordingly, they have very strong commitment to the work contract. Measuring entrepreneurial competencies. How can we really measure all these entrepreneurial competencies in an entrepreneur? The self-rating questionnaire is a set of 70 questions that quantifies and measures entrepreneurial competencies. As part of this lesson today, there is a self-rating questionnaire that is usually utilized to assess and quantify these 15 entrepreneurial competencies. My advice is that business counselors also try to go through the self-rating questionnaire exercise so that it exposes them to themselves. We use it mainly on entrepreneurs, and the idea of the self-rating questionnaire, and this takes me back to the point where I said that entrepreneurial competencies can be developed. When an entrepreneur conducts the self-rating questionnaire and he realizes that his persuasion competency is weak, the development process goes this way. The subconscious mind will take note of that weak competency. So the brain will automatically program itself that I am weak in persuasion. So accordingly, every time a situation arises where the brain can prove that he has this persuasion skills, it automatically comes out. And it pushes the individual to take actions that will prove to himself that no, I have the persuasion skills. And these could be done on very small, minor issues. It could be you're going to buy something from a shop, or you want to buy a handicraft item that you will discuss and you will negotiate with the seller so that you persuade him to sell you at your price. So accordingly, entrepreneurial competencies are not something that are static. They are something that can be developed with more time, with experience, with interaction with other entrepreneurs, with the success of the business. Entrepreneurial competencies will become much, much stronger, and they will be much, much better for the entrepreneur to serve him in his enterprise and in his life.